I'm at Apple Park and I just tried Vision Pro. You may in fact be able to tell by the slight remnants of wearing it, and I want to tell you all about it.
Vision Pro feels familiar, yet it's entirely new. You can see, hear, and interact with digital content just like it's in your physical space. And you control Vision Pro using the most natural and intuitive tools, your eyes, hands, and voice. Watch your movies, shows, and sports, and immerse yourself in games on a giant screen surrounded by spatial audio. And connect with people as if you're sharing the same space.
You may or may not know me. My name's Elly Awesome. I'm an Australian tech and lifestyle reviewer, and I got an incredibly exclusive, behind closed doors demo, hands-on, with the new Vision Pro. I'm assuming you know what the Vision Pro is, but essentially Apple's calling it a spatial computer, although you'd probably know it and call it a VR headset, virtual reality headset, or virtual and augmented reality headset, similar to like a HTC Vive or a Meta Quest. But I will say, it was pretty special. I've tried both those headsets, and this one made me feel like I was using VR for the first time again. And I hope that if you've tried VR, you had that special little feeling inside when you did for the first time of like, holy shit, technology. This is magical. How? Because I did have that with this product. So picking this thing up, it didn't feel overly heavy or anything, but it totally looked like an Apple product. Like you can see from the images, it's inspired by a bunch of their previous designs. Like it feels like it's got AirPod Max vibes crossed with like MacBook kind of styling. And so I was thinking immediately like, oh, is this gonna be heavy? Like the AirPods Max are like low-key heavy, am I right? But you know, I picked it up, I put it on just like a regular VR headset kind of thing. It's got this really cool dial. So you put on and you like dial it in, it like pulls it towards you, tightens up, and then it's got a little strap on the top that goes across the top of your head, and you tighten that up, and then it's a pretty good fit. I feel like I didn't get it 100% from the get-go, and so over the course of the demo, I definitely felt like pressure here. And it was a little heavy. Like it was, I would say it's kind of heavy, but we'll get into that soon. So once I put it on, my initial reaction was like, oh damn, everything looks pretty legit, like real, because I was seeing the space I was in through the headset, which I guess is like AR. So it was just like I was wearing goggles or something, right? And I could see everything as usual. But if you've tried other VR headsets, often you only see the world around you in like black and white or low res. Well, I've only really tried the Meta Quest and the Quest 2. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. So I was looking at the two Apple people next to me with the headset on, and it was like legit. I was holding up my hands and I was like, everything looks pretty like high resolution and pretty chill. Like I don't super feel like I'm looking through something, you know, does that make sense? And then they were like, yeah, press the digital crown to like bring up the little menu, and then all these app icons popped up and then you could interact with them, and they were like, all you have to do is, I think it was a double tap or a double pinch or one pinch to select, and then like a pinch and a swipe or a pinch and a drag or whatever to, you know, scroll. And as soon as they said that, I was like good to go. Like they were walking me through this demo step by step, but I was ready. Like it was immediately insanely intuitive, and that was really awesome. Like it was like why you buy an iPhone over an Android for your grandma or granddad. You know, a lot of it just makes sense. Especially for people who aren't super techie. You know, iPhone, in my opinion, and I think it's a little bit of a stereotype, it seems to be that kind of choice, right? You pick the iPhone for ease of use. I'm not hating on Android, yo, I'm not. But it was just super easy, especially someone that uses an iPhone and uses a Mac. Like it just felt instantly Apple, instantly recognizable. And it was like using my iPhone or my Mac, but on a heads-up display in front of me. Like in my lounge, I was just chilling, and all the apps were just there. And I was like, boop, boop, boop. I can see this becoming the norm, and that weirded me out, dude. Like, I feel like us tech people have known for a long time that this will likely or could totally become the future. We're all wearing freaking goggles, freaking headsets and doing shit. Part of me doesn't want that to be mainstream. I feel like it's too intense, it's too much. But the tech nerd inside of me is like, this is the best, this is insane. Because it was really cool. I think I mean that like a lot of this was so good that I was like, oh shit, like real life, smell you later. Like, you know what I mean? There's gotta be a balance, okay? But I'm rambling. So I was doing my little interacties, I was opening apps, I was closing apps. I noticed there was definitely a form of eye tracking because like I could just look at an app and then it would like highlight itself and kind of pop out and enlarge slightly. And then I would just do my little tap. But the next craziest part is that you didn't have to hold your hands up and tap or make sure it was like aligned with the app in virtual space. You can technically just put your hands down by your side and do the gestures. I can't show you, but do the gestures just casually resting. Like you could just be like, yeah. Yeah, like haven't had that experience before. Like I've used hand tracking and stuff where you can see your hands in virtual space, you can pinch, but it wasn't as seamless as this. It wasn't as casual as this. It felt really just so like weirdly human and normal. So the basics were cool, but then they like threw it all at me. They were like, let's go, let's dial it up a notch. And I was looking at 3D photos. Now, I can't remember if that's the technical term they called it, but essentially it's like a lenticular image or a holographic image. You know those little pictures that you can like move side to side and it's like kind of 3D, it pops out, but it's just that weird like layering of plastic. It was like that, but in virtual reality in the headset, and you could like move around and look at pictures and they had depth, and that was cool. But what was crazier is that you can use this to take videos that are like 3D. And so they showed me 3D video demos, and of course they were made by Apple, so they could be like extra perfect, but still mind-blowing. So I was like looking at a pre-recording of like some friends gathered around a campfire and they were talking. So it was like literally a moving video where they were 3D. They were like, it felt like I was just sitting in the room with them. And that was just so weird, but awesome. Videos with depth. I was like, oh my gosh, this is that shit we've talked about for years where it's like, I wonder if one day we'll be able to like talk to our family and friends as if they're sitting in the room with us when they're actually across the world or something. Like in the keynote, Apple was saying, you know, you can relive a memory. And I was like, yes, relive a memory. But I was like, oh my gosh, you kind of can. And I was also thinking when this gets like really, really impressive, because it was impressive, but you know, things can always get better at this point. I was like, this is going to be weird in a good way. Like, whoa, that was the normal stuff. This is where the shit gets crazy, right? So 3D movies. I watched Avatar, the new one, in 3D. It was literally like wearing 3D glasses in the cinema. The good ones, it was, the creatures were coming out at me. That was sick. Then they played me this trailer, man, where it was like animals eaten at a water hole, like rhinos, and they were like right in front of me. Like they felt 3D, they felt physical, they felt live. Not like the VR stuff you see where you can, you know, like travel to a different country and like sit there and be underwater and watch fish go by. No, they were 3D, bruh. They had a physicality to them. And I haven't experienced that before. Now, I don't know if I've just missed it, but I don't know if anything has done that yet in this form. But it gets better again, and this was crazy, right? I was sitting on the couch, right, this whole time. They sat me behind the basket or the basketball hoop at an NBA game, and then they sat me behind the goal of a football or soccer game, and then they sat me like on the pitch, not in the stands, on the pitch of a baseball field. These seats, these angles, you usually don't get to view something like this from these angles unless you pay a lot of money, right? Like it was like a courtside seat experience. And why this blew my mind is because it did genuinely feel really realistic, because it also had that 3D depth. So I was like watching the basketball players like bounce the ball, and the ball looked spherical. It looked real, and they were like shooting it. It was so good. At least on my first impression. Like I only saw this once. Maybe I was like high with hype, but I walked away being like, shit, this is the future. Like you don't need to be able to buy a box seat. You do need to be able to afford the headset, which is quite expensive at the moment. Maybe theoretically, my guess is that this might be a cheap seat that anyone can access from anywhere, from their lounge or whatever, for like, I don't know, 20 bucks. 20 bucks for a courtside seat that feels real. Like, I was sitting there being like, I was like, holy shit, I love this. Like, this is so dope. Like, I feel like I'm in the action, so close to the players and on the field, and it's not even real, but it is real. Like, it could be a real match. Like, imagine you're watching like a grand final and you've got the best seat in the house from your lounge room. I actually quickly talked to Marquez from MKBHD about it. He had the same demo and we were both taken aback by this particular function. I was like, this is gonna revolutionize the way we consume content or attend events. And I have felt like people have been trying to push that idea for a while now with VR, but it just hasn't taken off. And now Apple's doing it, right? If Apple's doing this shit, this means more people will follow. Maybe it'll become more mainstream. And I was also just sitting there thinking like, this is amazing for accessibility and amazing for, you know, people that don't usually get this kind of access in their lives to these kinds of special things like the courtside seat. I think in the demo there was like a voiceover being like, you know, make your dreams come true, like make dreams a reality or something. I don't know if I actually dreamed that, but it was making me feel so magical and whimsical, and I was like, yeah, you actually maybe can, because yeah, the depth of it and everything, I was like, damn, like this is gonna impact our future, this is gonna change things. Like if you want to go hang out in, I don't know, Alaska, I don't know why Alaska, with a bear that's programmed to look photorealistic and is friendly, you can, and it will feel 3D and amazing, and so like that's coming our way. I felt like Ready Player One actually could be real. Like I've seen it coming, I felt little wisps of that kind of shit, but with this, it felt like it was coming true, like it was real, and that was a little Black Mirror for me. I was a little like, uh-oh, I may never have to go outside again. Uh-oh, some people may never take the headset off because it's that good, or it's the beginnings of being that good. But I was also like, this is sick. This is awesome. So yeah, I guess the only downsides of this headset are, number one, it's insanely expensive. Now, Apple was justifying the price by saying, you know, if you bought like a huge 4K TV, a stereo sound system, a Mac or an iPhone, all of that together, that would make up what this headset is, and that would cost way more than the $3,499 US that it is. And that is like technically true. After using it, I would say like it's a lot to like invest in, but I do think it pulls off the features of all those items in one. So maybe not the first gen, but maybe in a few generations, and maybe people will buy these things over TVs, sound systems and all that. You might find that hard to believe, but I could see that happening. I could actually see that happening because of this product. And also going back to the red marks on my face at the start of this video, like I did feel like it was a little on the heavy side. It didn't feel super heavy, and maybe I didn't have it on completely correctly, but there was quite a lot of pressure, especially my forehead. And my skin marks easily, so I was left with quite aggressive marking, which I may not have had if I was someone else. I did find that I was feeling quite uncomfortable, like halfway to 3/4 of the way through the demo. And I think the demo lasted at least 30 minutes. So I was sitting there being like, holy shit, I love this and I want to play with it for hours on end, but I am uncomfortable. I am sore. I didn't feel like it was letterboxed. I felt like it was quite a wide field of view, like a very good 180. There was a tiny bit of light coming in like here. Someone else told me they had a tiny bit of light coming in there. But for the most part, it was like a good fit, and everything was very clear. And then a quick note on battery life is that this thing was being powered by the little battery pack. So it's just like plugged in with the cable, and that was sitting next to me on the couch while I was using it. And I believe you can use the headset plugged in for just like as long as you want kind of thing. You know, it's just powered. So 2-hour battery life. I mean, that's like just fits a movie, but does feel low. But I think if you just try it, you'll be like, oh damn. I'd be down with 2-hour battery life because it's just so fun and so cool. Didn't try any game. There is a game store, I believe, like that was brief in the keynote. So I feel like Apple's really pushing this for like work talking to people and movies, like visual experiences. But at the end of the day, I really want to use it again, and I'm really excited to check it out. But it's not coming to Australia as of yet, and we don't know if or when, but it is coming to the US early next year, 2024, for, again, $3,499. If you already love VR, I would say it is definitely worth looking into and considering and getting excited for. If you're completely new to VR, I would say it is still worth considering and getting excited for, especially if you're in the Apple ecosystem. If you already have an iPhone, if you already have a Mac, it feels intuitive, it feels clean, it feels professional, it's sleek. I don't know how much content is gonna come out that's ready for it, that's gonna be great. And I do feel like it'll be better if you have one and someone you know has one. So then you can like interact with it. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. I'll try to get back to you, if not in a comment or in a video or something. But I'm also on Insta and TikTok if you like short form stuff. Please hit thumbs up if you enjoyed this and let me know what you thought. And also subscribe if you want to see more from me. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.